Hello, my name is John Paul Harris, and I am the Wyoming AIM Clearinghouse Project Coordinator at the Wyoming Institute for Disabilities. Thank you for joining us for this webinar series focusing on technology to support accessible instructional materials. Today, we're going to talk about accessibility features of Android devices. The Android operating system is designed to be used with mobile technology that features a touch interface, such as phones and tablets. Android tablets are an alternative to the iPad and can be used with students in the classroom and with accessible instructional materials. I want to briefly review the popularity of Android devices today and in the future. Every day, more than 1 million new Android devices are activated worldwide. Android users download more than 1.5 billion apps and games from Google Play each month. So far, Android users have downloaded more than 25 billion apps from Google Play. Android versus the iPad in the market. The numbers are staggering. Android is quickly outpacing Apple's iPad in worldwide market share. Android is number one in worldwide market share by far. Android has a 62.6% market share, and iOS iPad devices have 32.5%. And I'm just talking about tablets. I'm not talking about phones, which Android also is a leader in. And also, Android market share is increasing every year. So this isn't just a blip on the radar screen here. This is a trend that's been occurring since 2012 and well into 2013 and most likely into the future. I want you to know how to use Android accessibility features with accessible instructional materials. Let's get started. This training module will go over how to use the following features on an Android device: TalkBack, the text-to-speech engine, extra large text, magnification gestures, on-screen keyboard options, and speech recognition with Google Voice. I will discuss how to use these features to support students with print disabilities and how to integrate the use of these features with accessible instructional materials, such as large print, digital text, DAISY audio, and refreshable braille displays. In this training module, participants will be able to identify accessibility features of Android devices, match Android accessibility features to be used with different types of accessible instructional materials, and be able to identify additional resources. I want to spend some time talking about the Android device that I will be using today. Unlike the iPad, there are many Android devices on the market, and it is important to identify a device of high quality and from a producer with a good reputation. I will be using the Asus Transformer Pad running Android 4.21. This Android release is commonly referred to as Jelly Bean. The Asus Transformer Pad is one of the top Android tablets on the market and is a good competitor to Apple's iPad. However, by the end of today, I hope to point out some differences between Android devices and iPads when it comes to accessibility features. The Asus Transformer Pad has support for micro SD cards and micro HDMI connectors. This is an advantage over the iPad, which does not have any connectivity options. You can connect an iPad to a computer via the USB cable. However, this is for managing the iPad and does not allow you to connect any devices to your iPad per se. I also use the Asus mobile dock for the Transformer Pad so that I have access to a full QWERTY keyboard, a mouse touch interface, and also a USB drive port and an SD card slot. Once again, these are connectivity options that the iPad does not have. I understand that districts have different resources, and if you have any questions, please contact me at the Wyoming Institute for Disabilities on information on mobile devices for the classroom. Let's review Android accessibility options. We will select the settings icon from the home page. You'll see a page with many items listed on the left-hand side. I will scroll down the list until I reach accessibility. Here towards the bottom, from the accessibility menu, we can turn on the accessibility features, talkback, magnification gestures, and extra large text. Let's demonstrate the magnification gestures. Pretty much everything you need to know to use magnification gestures is provided in this quick menu. While zoomed in, you can pan by dragging 2 or more fingers across the screen. You adjust the zoom level with a pinch 2 or more fingers together or spread apart. You turn zoom on and off by triple tapping the screen with 1 finger. And you can also temporarily magnify by triple tapping and holding your finger. I'll demonstrate all these features. I'll swipe the button at the top right here to turn on. Okay, let's go back to our home screen. I'll select this Go Read app I have loaded here. I have a textbook loaded. Let's try triple tapping with 1 finger to enable zoom. Okay, we're going to move around the screen by dragging 2 fingers. You can increase that zoom by pinching with 2 fingers in and out. And decreasing by pinching in. Let's go back to the home screen. Let's try another app. Let's try the periodic table. Okay, I'm going to turn zoom on by triple tapping 1 finger. All right, that makes it a little bit easier to see this periodic table. I'll move around the periodic table with 2 fingers. And actually, I want to increase the zoom just a little bit more, so I'm going to pinch out with 2 fingers. There we go. Now I can see the element acronyms and the associated numbers that go with them. I'll select this element. Scandium, so we get all the information here with this app. I really just want to highlight how the zoom feature is beneficial with this app here. If I turn zoom off, you can see we have a view of the full periodic table, but it's really hard to see the text and the details. So once again, that's why I like the magnification gestures here. That's magnification on, magnification off, triple tapping. Now, you can triple tap and hold with a finger for temporary zoom. So let's try that. 1, 2, 3. And I'll just move around until I find the item. I'll release. And I'll go back to 0 magnification. So I usually have my magnification gesture always enabled. So whenever I need it, I can turn it on and off with triple tapping with 1 finger. Works on the home screen. Once again, this feature is going to be very useful for students with low vision. As they move around the home screen or apps on the Android device, adjusting the zoom. And to get a feel for where you're on the page, we'll just, once again, turn the zoom off. Find where we need to go. Say it's my libraries. Let's triple tap again. Here we go. And our screen's enlarged. Going to go back to the accessibility menu here. Turn zoom off. I'll select settings. Make sure we're in the accessibility menu. I'll turn this off. Let's review the extra large text feature. I already have it enabled. Let me show you what it looks like without extra large text enabled. So the text is quite smaller and a little bit more difficult to read. Let's go back to the home page. You can see the text underneath the app icons is small. It's actually difficult for me to read. So that's why I like to have that extra large text feature enabled whenever I'm using an Android device. I usually have that feature turned on. You may notice that message here when I turned it on. Some apps may not display text with extra large font size properly. Depends on the app and how it was designed, if it integrates well with Android operating system. There's another feature I want to quickly review. I went to display, and there's a setting here called font size. This setting affects all users on this tablet. And it's already set to huge because I selected extra large text from the accessibility menu. Just wanted to quickly review that so you knew that it was available. However, it's, from the accessibility menus where we're going to turn on our extra large text. I wish there were some more settings for extra large text. It's really an on-off feature. I can't adjust the font size. It's only enabled or it's not enabled. Next, I will demonstrate the built-in text-to-speech feature called TalkBack. TalkBack is a text-to-speech application or screen reader optimized for mobile touch interfaces, similar to Apple iPad's VoiceOver. The design of TalkBack allows the user to explore the device by touch. You do this by moving around the home pages with one finger, and TalkBack will tell you what app or widget you are hovering over. To activate an app that has focus, double tap anywhere on the screen. I will demonstrate that. Explore by Touch is a nice feature for students with low vision or vision impairment or blindness trying to get familiar with the Android device. So I'll select Settings. Once again, I'm going to go to the Accessibility menu. I'll select TalkBack. And I swipe this button in the top right to turn on TalkBack. And I'll get a pop-up message saying TalkBack can collect all your text you type, except passwords. It can also collect data about your interactions with the tablet. I'll just select OK.
Ringer 100%. TalkBack gestures changed.
All right, so my interface to my Android device is now a little bit different. I'll try to scroll the left-hand menu here with one finger like I usually do.
Accounts. List showing 15 items. Power saver, location, access, security, language, and input, backup, and list showing 1 items when TalkBack is on.
And you'll notice that instead of scrolling, I'm moving the focus, TalkBack's focus highlighted with this, I don't know if you can see it, kind of a frame, a yellow frame box that goes around the item. And TalkBack tells me what that is. That's actually the Explore by Touch feature. So if I move with one finger around the screen, TalkBack's going to tell me what it is I'm hovering over.
List showing 15 items. Power saver location access security language and input backup and reset AS. List showing 1 items. When TalkBack is on, your device provides spoken feedback to help blind and list showing 15.
Okay, so when I actually want to scroll, I'll be using 2 fingers. And you get some audio input, kind of giving you an idea if you're at the top of a list or bottom of a list. If I scroll down, you'll hear the pitch of that sound effect get higher and quicker. Then as I scroll to the top, it'll get lower pitch and not as fast. So that's nice.
ASUS customized set
That's nice auditory
showing items
input
1 to
for the
11 of
user.
15.
You notice I'm double tapping anywhere on the screen to pause TalkBack as I move around. Let's go to the home screen. Or actually, before I do that, let's go back to accessibility.
About tablet. Accessibility.
You notice now with one click, I don't actually get accessibility, so I have to double click. I have focus on the accessibility menu. I can actually click anywhere on the page or in the screen to activate.
TalkBack on.
In TalkBack, I wanted to briefly show you the settings here,
Settings.
available from the top right of the screen.
TalkBack settings. Showing items 1 to 12 of 15.
I have selected Use Pitch Changes, which speaks keyboard feedback in a lower pitched voice.
Always speak typed key.
I have the Explore by Touch feature turned on with this check mark here. There's also a Launch Explore by Touch tutorial. One quick setting I want to show you here is the Manage Shortcut Gestures.
Manage shortcut gesture. Manage shortcut gestures. Showing items 1 to 8 of 8.
So this is nice. We have a little bit more control over TalkBack with gestures that we'll use on the interface without having to go back to the accessibility menu to make changes. So let's take a quick look at these. There's a swipe up then right, which opens up our notifications. We got a swipe up and left, which will take us to the home button. Swipe down then right, recent apps. Swipe down and left, we'll go to the back button. An important one here is swipe right then up. This will open up a global context menu. So I'm going to review all these real quick from the home screen here. Actually, let's swipe up then left to go to the home button.
Home.
Okay, so that's nice. A nice little gesture there so I could get back to the home screen. That saves us from trying to select the settings icon from the home page or navigating through a list of menus to get back to where we need to go. Let's try a swipe up then right.
Home screen 2. Home. Home screen 3 of 5.
Okay, to move screens, I'm going to use 2 fingers and drag.
Home screen 5. Home screen 4 of 5. Home screen 4. Home screen 3 of 5.
Let's try to open up an app here.
Home screen 4 of 5.
Let's try this U.S. Constitution.
U.S. Constitution. U.S. Constitution. Article 2 button. U.S. Constitution.
Okay, open this up so we can just mess around with some of the swipe gestures. Let's try that swipe up and right again.
Tuesday, October 29, 2013 Wi-Fi 1 bar. You guessed battery 75%. 75% IPS mode audio jack connected. U.S. Constitution.
So it was nice, the swipe up and right, open up our notification bar. If I did a swipe up and left, I would go to the home screen again. Let's try a swipe down and left.
U.S. Constitution.
That's the equivalent of our back button. Let's try a swipe down and to the right.
Recent 6 recent apps.
So that takes us to our recent apps. You can see all the apps I had
File
open here,
Manager.
such as the periodic table and the Go Read app. Let's go back though.
U.S. Constitution.
Let's go back to Article 2.
Article 2 button.
It's always tricky with TalkBack turned on. You always got to double tap that icon to activate.
U.S. Constitution.
Okay, I'm going to try to swipe right, then up. And I get this
Touch
tap
the
and hold.
screen and explore to find an item, then lift to select.
I have some options here. You can see if I drag my finger up, it will repeat last utterance. If I drag down, it will spell last utterance. If I drag to the right corner, I'll get TalkBack settings. But right now, I'm just going to drag to the top left corner and pause feedback.
Repeat, pause, alert, suspend, talkback. Are you sure you want to? OK button.
So now I have TalkBack turned off. All my gestures are now the default settings, so I don't have to double tap icons to activate anymore. So I'll just click the home screen and go back. Okay, next I'll demonstrate the on-screen keyboard. You'll notice I still have TalkBack turned on. I paused feedback from our previous demo. TalkBack will not turn back on until this device goes to sleep. Then when I turn it back on, TalkBack will be active. Let's just give that a try before I go into the on-screen keyboard. So I'm going to turn this off. Hit the power button. I'll turn it back on.
Ringer 100%.
So you notice TalkBack is now activated and providing feedback.
Slide area. Device, home.
So I'm not going to want to have TalkBack actively providing feedback during my next demo here of the on-screen keyboard. So I'm just going to pause feedback with that swipe right and then up. Tap and hold that button
Touch
in
the
the
screen
center.
and explore. Repeat last. Pause feedback. Alert, suspend, talkback. OK button.
And I drag my finger up to the top left of the screen to pause feedback there. For the on-screen keyboard, we'll go back to our settings. Going back to accessibility again. Actually, I jumped ahead a little too quickly. Let's scroll back up to display. Or excuse me, I'm sorry, we'll do language and input. And from this menu, we have the keyboard and input methods. Right now, if I go to default, I can choose what our default keyboard will be. I'll select the Android keyboard. We also have some speech settings there for voice search and mouse and trackpad settings. Okay, I'm going to go back to the home button. And I'm going to open up an app such as Supernote. Create a new page here. And I'll select keyboard input from the top here for this app. And this just shows you my basic on-screen keyboard, the Android keyboard. I'll just do some basic typing. I'm not so well versed with this on-screen keyboard. I could finish this sentence, but I just want to quickly show you the on-screen keyboard. Also, there's the Google Voice recognition here for this microphone icon down here. Let's go down to a new line. Let's try some input with voice here, and we'll make some notes. Hello, my name is John Paul Harris. Didn't quite get that one well. Let's try it again. Hello, my name is John Paul Harris. You're seeing quite a bit of delay there. Google Voice, which is the built-in for Android devices here, when you see that microphone icon, is actually sending an audio version of my spoken words to a Google server to process, and it sends back to the device to render the text. I'm going to go back to the keyboard here. So Google Voice did a pretty decent job. I'm going to spend some time demoing that out a little bit later. But I want to show you another on-screen keyboard we can use. Go back to Settings. Remember, we're going to go to Language Input. And for the default keyboard, now I'm going to select Swipe and Dragon. This was actually a downloaded app from the Google Play Store. Going to go back to Supernote. And let's select the keyboard input option here. All right, so this is a little bit different of a keyboard, on-screen keyboard. Actually has some word prediction in the top ribbon up here, which I really like. I really like word prediction with on-screen keyboards. It's good. It's a good feature to demo to students. I'm not so much a user of word prediction, but I really like to demonstrate it with students so that they're aware of word prediction, and maybe it's a feature that could help them out. And if it is, maybe it's a feature you stick with here with this on-screen keyboard, or you look to purchase an app or an application that has more robust word prediction. Let's start a new sentence here. Now this is a swipe keyboard, so I don't actually have to press the keys. So hopefully I should be able to type a little bit faster now. You get my last name wrong, that's because I lifted my finger at the wrong time. So let me try my last name again real quick here. See if I can get that right. There we go. Actually, I'm going to select from the word prediction the capitalized version of my last name. Ah, great. So I really like this swipe keyboard here. I didn't lift my finger to type. You notice in the Android on-screen keyboard, the one I just previously demoed, the built-in, I had problems typing with the on-screen keyboard. That's not uncommon for me. With the swipe keyboard, it's really a little bit of room for error. I can just swipe with one finger. I'm getting some word prediction. I like how it knew how to capitalize my name, John Paul Harris. And when it didn't capitalize my last name, it was in the word prediction. So I find this on-screen keyboard, the swipe and dragon keyboard, to be very useful. Let me see if I can show you the dragon component of this swipe plus dragon keyboard. That's with this dragon icon right here. Okay, so My Wi-Fi connection is fairly weak in my current location, and this Dragon speech recognition does require Wi-Fi access, just as Google Voice does. So that's a little bit of a hindrance here with the speech to text features on the Android mobile device. A lot of devices have this flaw where the actual speech recognition engine isn't actually built into the device. It's not an application running on the device. Mac OS X has this issue as well, where an audio file is actually sent to a server where the audio file is processed and then text is rendered and then sent back to my device. So you'll see that here on this Android device. One of the speech recognition applications I really like, just since we're on this topic, is Windows 7 and 8 speech recognition. It has a full-featured speech recognition engine built within the operating system. It's free, it's available, because it's a built-in, and it is high quality. It's only second to Dragon Naturally Speaking, but it's a close second. And I actually do use the built-in speech recognition for Windows 7 and 8 devices. But I just want to make that point here that our speech recognition is on this mobile platform, and even on the iPads as well, and the Mac OS X laptop versions, you need an internet connection. Let me try it again, see if I picked up my internet connection here. No. So the Dragon part of this on-screen keyboard is not working as well. But once again, I like the swipe feature of this keyboard, and I like the word prediction. And once again, this is a download from Google Play. Go back to the home screen here. See if I can find the actual app here on the home page. Well, I might be missing it, but I just want to highlight that once again in the settings. When you download this app, it will appear in language input, and it's called Swipe Plus Dragon right here. So definitely download that from the Google Play Store. I really like that on-screen keyboard. Let's review the accessibility features we have discussed so far in this training module. I showed you the extra large text option. We reviewed the magnification gestures on the Android device. We did a quick review of TalkBack, the text-to-speech engine on the Android mobile device. And we just briefly went over on-screen keyboard options. I really only showed you two options, but they're two of my favorites, which is the built-in Android on-screen keyboard, which is basic, but I really like the Swipe Plus Dragon on-screen keyboard app. Once again, that's available from Google Play. Next, I want to talk about speech recognition. I'll demonstrate Google Voice, which is the Siri equivalent for Android devices. But I also want to highlight some other options here. The best speech recognition options for Android, as I mentioned, Google Voice. It's actually pretty impressive speech recognition. And a lot of people have given it really good reviews. There's also Dragon Mobile Assistant from Nuance. I have not actually used that tool. I have reviewed it. Haven't been impressed enough to actually buy it, but I'm not giving my official review on it quite yet, because I really like Google Voice, and we'll stick with Google Voice. But if you have time, maybe you want to look at that Dragon Mobile Assistant. And Google Voice works well with the built-in device microphone. So another thing I've liked here is I'm not using the headset here for speech recognition. I'm actually using the built-in microphone on this Asus transformer, and I've been impressed with the quality. Okay, let's go back to the Android device. I'll wake it up here.
Ringer 100%.
Remember, I always have I always have TalkBack on.
Status. TUE. Slide area. Unlock. Home.
I'm going to disable TalkBack. Even though it's still on in the background, I don't want it to take over my gestures on the interface here, so I'll do a swipe right then up. Tap and hold and drag to the
Repeat.
top
Pause.
left
Feedback.
corner.
Alert. Suspend. TalkBack. OK button.
Okay, Google Voice can be found from the Android on-screen keyboard. If I were in a text document, I showed you that in Supernote here. So here is my Google Voice icon right here, this microphone. Let's go back to the home screen. You can also activate Google Voice here from the home screen in this top left corner. It's actually available on all the home screens here. To activate Google Voice, we can select the microphone icon in the top left corner of the screen. You may or may not be able to see that due to the contrast settings of the device and that you're viewing the device through a document camera. However, this Google icon with the microphone is available from all home screens here. And I'm going to select the microphone. Search for accessibility options on Android devices. All right, I was pretty impressed with that. Just using the internal microphone of the Asus Transformer, Google Voice is able to accurately render my text without any mistakes. And it quickly did a search for me. So now I did a web search and I have web pages here I can look at for Google search. Here's one choice, using Google products, accessibility Google. Might be one place I want to look at. Here's TalkBack, Android apps on Google Play. You can also get to the Google Voice feature from the on-screen keyboard. So let's go to our home screen. Let's go to Supernote. Okay, here's that Google Voice microphone icon again. Hello, my name is John Paul Harris. How are you today? Question mark. Today is October 29th, 2013. It is a Tuesday, and I am busy recording a training module on Android accessibility options. All right, even though my cursor is right in the middle of my paragraph I had set up earlier, you can see that it rendered my text accurately here. I had a little bit of a problem with the date there. I said today is October 29th, 2013. Then it put in 30 there for some reason. But it said Tuesday, busy recording. I think it thought I said 30 when I said today is a Tuesday. But once again, I'm impressed with the accuracy. I can try to read a script here I prepared. Let me switch to it real quick. I'll see how well Google Voice does with a portion of John F. Kennedy's inaugural address that I'm going to read here. In the long history of the world, only a few generations have been granted the role of defending freedom in its hour of maximum danger, period. I do not shrink from this responsibility. I welcome it, period. I do not believe that any of us would exchange places with any other people or any other generation. All right, let's look at that text we have here. Okay, so I have here in the screen here the portion of text that was rendered by Google Voice when I was reading back the inaugural address. Pay attention, look at the screen here as I read back what it should have said. In the long history of the world, comma, only a few generations have been granted the role of defending freedom in its hour of maximum danger. So you can already see that Google Voice started making a fair amount of mistakes here. But this is to show you, this is to highlight where Google Voice is usable and useful and where it's not. I would not recommend Google Voice for a dictation application for a student to write a paper. As you can see, just with 2 sentences here, I had quite a bit of mistakes. But Google Voice works really well for short commands and short phrases that you use for an internet search. And just a little bit of access to your Android device using voice recognition, like I mentioned, commands. But this isn't a problem just with Google Voice. This is most voice recognition apps that are running on mobile devices that require a Wi-Fi connection to go out to a server to render the text and then have that text sent back to the device. They're just not full-featured dictation speech recognition applications. So I would not recommend these for use with students for writing a paper. They are kind of fun to use for a quick Google search like I showed you before, or other short commands you might want to use in your notes, but definitely not for a full paragraph of text. Let's discuss options for Braille. The best option for Braille support is an app called BrailleBack. BrailleBack is designed by the company Eyes Free Keyboard and is free from Google Play. BrailleBack works with TalkBack and a refreshable Braille display to provide a combined Braille and speech user experience. So you notice Android devices can be used with Bluetooth refreshable Braille displays. That's a really nice feature. With the refreshable Braille display and the recommended BrailleBack app, a student can interact with text documents, online resources, email, calendar, and much more. I'm not going to do a full review of a refreshable Braille display. As I've mentioned in all my training modules here for devices to support AIM, it's really hard to demonstrate refreshable Braille displays. And finding the right refreshable Braille display for a student is an involved process, and there are many vendors and manufacturers of Braille displays. Many companies will let you demo their Braille display devices for 30 or 60 days. And finding the correct match is important for the student. It'll take a little bit of time to assess the student's need and how well the student interacts with the refreshable Braille display. There's different models, there's different sizes. There's small, there's large. So finding the right fit for your student is going to be important because they'll be using that refreshable Braille display probably for a couple years while they're in the school district with you. And they are expensive, so there's a cost associated with them. So it's something you definitely want to assess and find the right match for a student. And like I said, that's more of an involved process. I won't really discuss that in our training modules. I do usually provide links to resources for refreshable Braille displays, such as refreshable Braille displays that can be used on an Android device. And I'll do that later on in the recommended resources. Let's recap what we've discussed so far today. Benefits of using the Android accessibility features with accessible instructional materials. I really just kind of showed you some of the accessibility features. When I'm done here with this slide, I want to move back to a Daisy player from Bookshare called Go Read, just so I have a little bit of focus on AIM. But it's important to recognize how we can use some of these apps here that I talked about, accessibility features, with accessible instructional materials, such as TalkBack and magnification gestures. These tools are readily available. They come built in with your device. These tools can be used in a mobile environment. So a student could use an Android tablet to read a PDF document using magnification gestures, which would be as similar to a large print accessible instructional materials. But most importantly, provide students with print disabilities access to classroom instructional materials. So if it's a PDF document or if it's a DAISY audio file that we put on the mobile device, here the Android device, they have access to the instructional materials just as every other student does in the classroom. And that's the important feature with these accessibility features, that they are available for free and they're built into these devices. It's just a matter of us knowing how to use them and adjust them and fine tune them for the student so that it's usable for them in the classroom. I want to quickly show you the GoRead app from Bookshare to support DAISY audio on the Android mobile device. It's a free download from Google Play. I have it right here. I'm going to select it. GoRead.
Bookshare demo, Introduction to Economic Analysis. Economics studies the allocation of scarce resources among people examined.
All right, so what this app is actually doing is using the built-in text-to-speech feature, TalkBack, here with this app. And right now I have a demo textbook downloaded from Bookshare for demonstration purposes. It's on economics. Once again, this is a DAISY audio, which is accessible instructional format. It's a little bit better than MP3 because he has some navigation features. Let me show that to you. I'll select table of contents here. It's probably hard to read the text. All right, so now I brought up a table of contents for our introduction textbook. Let's go to what is economics.
What is economics? Economics studies the allocation of scarce resources among people, examining what goods and services wind up in the hands of which people. Why scarce resources? Absent scarcity.
I can move around here by selecting this next section button here.
Absent scarcity. Some markets involve a physical marketplace. Price exchange of goods and services for.
So I use that next section. It's just kind of advancing through the text. There's a menu here we can access here for the GoRead app. We can navigate to a page. Let's go to page 5.
Index. List of figures. Figure 2 to 1, the demand curve 2 to 9. Figure.
So it's just basically reading the last page of this example, which is the index. Let's go back to the menu here. We can download books if we have a Bookshare account, which I highly recommend for institutions, school districts, and students. It is a free account. We have this accessibility settings. This is a good example of how a lot of apps are integrated with the accessibility features of the Android device. If I actually go to accessibility settings, it takes me back to the accessibility menu where we've been all day talking about the built-in accessibility tools such as TalkBack, magnification gestures. So the GoRead app is really just integrating with the accessibility tools already there on the Android device.
Figure 2 to 2, consumer surplus 2 to 11.
Let's go to previous section
Figure
here.
2 to 1, the demand curve 2. Index. Antitrust is, in some.
I just kind of want to demo this GoRead app to show that the Android mobile device can support multiple accessible instructional material formats such as DAISY, large print, digital text, and Braille. However, I expect a little bit more from a DAISY reader. This GoRead app has not matured as much as Bookshare's iPad app called Read2Go, which is a fabulous app where you can control the font size and background colors. We can also do that here in this menu, but it just doesn't seem to work as well as the Read2Go app on the iPad. I'll select settings.
And.
Let me try text-to-speech settings. Maybe that's where that setting was.
Antitrust is.
Well, previously when I was playing with the Go Read app, there was some menu options for large text. However, they weren't working so well and the text became overlapped in the app, which is not so bad. It just has limited usability
Antitrust
right
is,
now.
in some sense, the
As Bookshare develops their app for the Android device, Android platform. And that's true of a lot of apps out there. The iPad has probably some of the best apps because developers have been creating for the iPad for a long time now, and it's a really big market. But Android, the Android platform is actually, like I mentioned, has number one sales worldwide. It has the largest market share Android does, but it needs some time to mature, as say the iPad has, and iTunes, the apps from the iTunes store have matured over the last 5 to 6 years, I believe. Android's getting there. Once again, this is a good demonstration of how this Go Read app is functional. The usability of it, though, is still lacking. I'm still looking for a little bit more maturation of this app. But I just wanted to demonstrate that for you. Okay, just want to briefly review some of the apps we discussed today as I close up this training. We talked about BrailleBack. Once again, that's an app that's going to be used with a refreshable Braille display. I want to let you know it's available. If you have a refreshable Braille display, go ahead and download that app from Google Play. It's a free app. And try using it with your refreshable Braille display. We also talked about Dragon Mobile Assistant for speech voice recognition. Once again, I have reviewed that app. And it goes back to the issue I was just discussing recently is the app is good. It has it needs a little bit more maturation. It needs to be more fully featured. It has some areas where the voice recognition doesn't work in certain apps or in certain fields. So once again, it's just a matter of time for a lot of these Google Play apps to get up to the same levels as the iPad, iTunes Store apps. But I just want to review those apps we discussed today for the Android platform. Some other recommended apps here. Readability. Go Read from Bookshare, which I just did a quick demonstration of. Learning Ally also has an app out there for the Android platform. It's in beta. It's a beta version right now, so that means it's still in development. Once again, that's a consistent trend with a lot of these accessibility apps for the Android platform. So you'll find they're still in the development phase. Another app I didn't really have a chance to go over with you today because it's not really related to accessible instruction materials, but it's called Walkie Talkie. This is an app for an individual who uses the Android mobile device for navigation, a person who may be a low vision or blind. The Walkie Talkie gives instructions for navigating streets, campuses, things of that nature. So it'll provide auditory feedback to you as you move through a city or across campus or across town. It has some pretty good reviews. I haven't tried it out, but I did want to mention that. If you have a chance, maybe you can try the Walkie Talkie app from Google Play. And as I mentioned, all these apps are available from Google Play. I didn't provide the links because they are quite long, but just you can open up the Google Play store from any web browser. Just search Google Play. You can take a look at the apps that are available. I also said that I provide resources for refreshable Braille displays. I want to quickly take you to the Google Play Store. I'm just using the Safari web browser here. And like I say, you can access Google Play from any web browser. And I just did a search for BrailleBack. There's no built-in support into the Android platform right now for refreshable Braille displays, but this is where this BrailleBack app comes into play here. When you install this app, it supports the following devices here. It might be a little bit difficult to read. I don't know. I'll read out some of them. Devices supported in this version include the APH Refreshable Braille, Freedom Scientific Focus, HIMS Braille Sense and Braille Edge, Humanware Brilliant, the Optelec Alva, and some others. I just kind of highlighted the more popular ones that I know of there. But that's pretty good support for refreshable Braille displays. Once again, that is the BrailleBack app available from Google Play. This is the app that's going to allow you to connect a refreshable Braille display via Bluetooth and use it with your iPad. Okay, that wraps up today's training module on Android devices, Android mobile devices, and accessibility features available from the Android platform. My name is John Paul Harris. Please contact me. My email address, if you have any questions, of jharri42@uwyo.edu, or call me at 307-766-5770. Thank you for joining us for this training module.